What's going on, VK family? It's your boy Vital coming at you with yet another early 4K review of the highly anticipated Reimagined Bred 4s that are set to release on February 17th of this year. Now, I'm super excited to cover these details because it's high demand, right? We've been hearing about this pair since 2023. All the big sneaker podcasts and all that stuff, we're talking about it, looking at product reviews, seeing them early on celebrity feeds. But I think today, with a nice close-up and 4K quality, you'll really make an informed decision, right? You'll see some of the different leathers and materials that we already know about, but maybe even some of the flaws that I'll point out, and finally some of the cool accessories that they added onto this version of the Bred 4s. So super excited to dive into it, and maybe you decide, hey, I'm actually gonna pass on them like half the world said last year, or you decide, hey, I need them early and I need to pick them up from a spot such as the one that we're in, right? So here's my quick little shameless plug. It's been a while since we shot a video in the store, but Vital Chinatown is the space that we're in right now, Chicago's first luxury streetwear boutique in Chinatown, right? And we are the newest one in Chicago, but specifically, guys, we're breaking history just by doing this in Chinatown, right? That being said, shoot us a follow. You'll start to see a lot of the cool events that we do and the apparel that we create and drop, all right? But that's it, guys. I'm not gonna take too long promoting what we do because I think if you rock with it, once you see our Instagram, you're gonna rock with it, right? That being said, guys, let's hit that intro because I know what we came for and I wanna dive into these details. Let's get it. All right, so we are gonna start with the box, get a few close-ups because I think it's unique and I'm happy with what they gave us this time around. But before we do that, I would be wrong if I didn't first speak about the history of the Bred 4s because these, when we're talking about OG sneakers that Jordan Brand has been reimagining over and over again, these are definitely up there. Every time the Bred 4s are brought into any conversation, which, by the way, their nickname is also the Black Cement 4s, so whichever one you like, these always hit top rankings, top votes, top charts when it comes to the best OG sneaker, the best Jordan 4, whatever it may be, right? There has been some debate on this specific pair just because of some of the material switches, which when you do that to an OG pair, half of the Jordan community is gonna hate you for, right? But I think we already know that, and I think Jordan Brand already knows that, but they did just enough to keep the OG quality alive, right? But all that being said, guys, the first pair, the first Bred 4s that released came out in 1989, and that was during the Jordan era, right? Where he was taking off in his first few years in the league. So that's what made this specific pair so coveted because he wore it multiple times playing on the Bulls, right? It released a few times in between, but the last time that we saw the Bred 4s with the suede finish at least is going to be in 2019. So just 5 short years later, we're getting the reimagined version. And compared to some of the other reimagined that have dropped, their predecessor came out with much bigger gaps. So curious as to why Jordan Brand decided to drop this pretty soon after they already dropped it in 2019. But I think for the people that like it, we're not complaining. All right, and for the people that don't like it, by the end of this video, let me know if you change your mind, all right? Let's dive into this box. Why I like this box specifically is because we're actually reviewing the grade school pair. This is a 7 youth, and the men's pair comes with exactly the same box. If you're familiar with Jordan Brand, they usually give the cool box and the extra accessories to the men, and they skimp the smaller sizes on it. So this time, guys, we are seeing that premium box with the removable lid. We see that red Jumpman with the flight underneath with the all gray and black cement splatter. Really, really cool. And for some reason, I don't know why, maybe it reminds me of like back in the day or when I was a youth or youngin' and really buying Jordans. The removable lid just really does it for me. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if that's like a big deal for you, but for some reason, it's it for me. All right, I don't care what anyone says, but when it comes to the smell test, something's different about them when they're early, all right? They just smell a little bit more crisp and a little bit more that new sneaker smell, right? And you wouldn't know unless you actually bought an early pair. So a quick little other shameless plug, guys. If you haven't checked us out on vitalchinatown.com, definitely do that because on top of being able to shop early pairs and all the hype stuff, we are also doing lots of events that you'll be able to catch up and see on that page as well, all right? That being said, guys, let's start with this beautiful sock line. liner. Getting a nice close-up view on the sock liner, guys, you can already see nothing different outside of its predecessors of the original Bred 4s. We get that gray nylon material on the sock liner, and then on the back of that tongue, we're seeing red, just to have a little bit of contrast with that Air Jordan upside down stitched onto the back of it. Taking a look at the insole, similar to the sock liner, they changed absolutely nothing, and it is OG as OG gets, all right? We got an all red insole with a black Nike Air on it. Instead of that lousy Jumpman. Absolutely beautiful, and I don't think anybody is gonna complain when OG stays OG. 3 out of 3 details so far. But the next thing we're gonna talk about is the rest of the uppers, and I already know, and you already know, that's where the controversy is, because that's what makes this pair reimagined, all right? So as we move on to the rest of the uppers, guys, I want your guys' interaction. Let's have some conversation. If that killed it for you, and it's like, I don't even support Jordan Brand anymore, which is pretty extreme, put that in the comments, right? Or if you're like, whoa, that's completely different, and I'll give you some thinking points to think about whether it's good or bad, right? As we go through those things, maybe you decide, you know what? I actually like those a lot, and I want them early, right? That being said, let's move down to the rest of the uppers. Straight off the bat, when I'm looking at the uppers, the colorway is exactly the same as this predecessor. All black uppers with gray hits, which I'll point out, and a red Jumpman on the tongue. However, instead of its all suede uppers like the 2019 and the 1989 version, this is the first Bred 4s that are releasing in a full tumbled leather. And I'll be honest, guys, when I'm looking at the details, and you'll kind of see it inside the 4K close-up as well, this leather is not as tumbled as other pairs that they've been releasing. This is a lot more plush, a lot less texture. Even though you can see it, it doesn't really have those deep indents when it comes to that tumbled leather. Instead, when I really push down, I'm getting that plushness, I'm getting that thickness, even on a grade school pair. So I already can tell you that this leather is pretty great quality. So I'm gonna pause right there. Maybe you were thrown off by the leather just because it's something different, but now that you're hearing that it's high quality and actually might be a more premium material, it might actually cost the brand more than suede to put it on the sneaker, does that make you want it more? Because for me personally, I'll give a little bit of my opinion, this is an upgrade in materials, right? Suedes are cool, but in the reality of fashion and materials, leather costs more. And on top of that, especially with it snowing and raining every other day in Chicago right now, leather is way more durable. Think about that time when you spilled something on suede and that sneaker was forever ruined, right? Or you cleaned the sneakers because they weren't even that dirty and the water ruined the suede sneaker, right? So that is definitely something we don't have to worry about with the reimagined Bred 4s. Think about that. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Diving right back into it, guys, honestly, there's not too much different. We also get those mesh panels on the side and the tongue, as we always do with any Jordan 4. They are in deep black, inside and out, just like the original pair. We also get the Jordan 4 wings on both sides, black only with the gray eyelids to wrap it up at the top, and also the gray eyelids contrast that black upper on the bottom of the pair as well. And essentially, guys, that's it for the uppers and what's different, right? Because everything else is going to be pretty true to its 2019 and its 1989 version. Really quickly, just to cover it, I'm seeing those mesh panels on both sides of the sneaker and the tongue, as its OG way, all black, inside and out. We're also seeing the Jordan 4 wings on both sides of the sneakers with only that gray hit at the top that contrasts all of the black and also match some of that gray sock liner. Finally, we also see those gray hits at the bottom of the eyelids, the eye stays, which hold the laces, by the way. I go back and forth, eye stays, eyelids, eyeballs, I don't know. But really, really cool that they kept everything else the same, besides that small little material switch, right? Let's just wrap it up by saying the pair only comes with black laces. All right, so no extra pairs, but I think that's okay because none of the previous models had extra pairs as well, so who cares about that? Just like any other Jordan 4, we get a very neat black and red Jumpman flight tag stitched into the tongue, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I don't know if it's the contrast of materials on this cloth versus the leather, but something about it just looks way cleaner than a suede Jordan 4. But as you guys see that close up, you let me know if my opinion is a little bit biased, but I don't think so. finally, guys, to wrap up the uppers, which the box already gave us a hint on, and the insoles, we are getting the OG Nike Air on the back in a gray colorway, which I think everybody goes crazy over when it's on a pair of Jordan 4s, especially, right? And just to emphasize that as well, on the left sneaker that comes, it actually comes with the Nike Air tag also, continuing to give those OG vibes, because we know in like the 2015 to the 2020 era, they started to like eliminate all these other things that came from the original models. So it's nice to see them bringing this back, but this time again with a little switch. I believe the OG one was orange or red. Correct me, please let me know. But this pair comes in black, I believe, to emphasize the black leather that is new on this pair. All right, guys, we are getting there because that was essentially all that makes this pair reimagined, but let's wrap it up by moving on to the midsole. All right, guys, so you already know how the rest of this review is gonna end up, but let us do our due diligence and cover the rest of the details. First, when I'm looking at the midsole from the side, I'm seeing 4 different colors, which are super cool because I think most Jordan 4s, Jordan 3s, any of the midsoles, they usually just contrast 2 colors. So starting off, we get that black panel that goes all the way around that is quite seamless with the rest of the uppers. Directly below that is gonna be that OG white panel. All right, and that's really exciting because every other pair of Reimagined, the 1s, the 3s, when they brought them back, whatever they changed, but anything that was white on the sneaker, they made sale, or they aged it, right? Made it a little bit tan. This pair, however, they chose not to do that and keep it white, staying very true again to its OG. And I think they did that intentionally, knowing they already switched up a very big detail. So they were probably like, you know what? Let's give everything else the OG vibes. All right, that being said, guys, the air bubble inside is also white, and then we get a peek of that outsole on the red on the back heel. One of my favorite parts of the midsole of the Jordan 4 is going to be this gray panel that starts right here, kind of peeks up into its uppers, which is my favorite part. I just think it's a really cool aesthetic detail to create contrast between outsole, midsole, and uppers, right? But that gray panel wraps all the way around the toe box, where on the front we can see those hit of red stars as well. That being said, guys, let's check out the last detail, the outsoles. And getting to the outsoles, guys, this is as OG gets. Nothing is changed about the bottom, so I don't think anyone will have any complaints. But hey, maybe there's a new age Jordan head that was like, I wish they did blank, all right? So definitely let us know in the comments below. But again, guys, I'm seeing those same 4 colors as I did see on the midsole, those red hits, that gray, the white panels, and then on this one, a red Jumpman at the bottom, staying true to its OG predecessor. And so that is it on our early pair of the Reimagined Bred 4s that are set to release on February 17th of this year. I think we've covered a lot of details and you got to hear some of my comments already. So again, interact with us in the comments because we'd love to have some cool conversation, right? But the way we end every single review, if you are new to our channel, is by giving it a rating out of 10, 10 being the best, all right? So when it comes to the Bred 4s, let me just give some background. 4s are one of my top 3 models, right? I love Jordan 4s. When it comes to OG colorways, I do consider myself an OG head compared to the new age of sneaker heads. So OG colorways definitely do it for me. But what's different is every single Reimagined pair, instead of like the OG people, they're like, nah, they switch it up, I want nothing else. I have been more on the like, these little switches are super cool. And I already talked about how this is actually an upgrade of materials, just like the Gratitude, or the, they didn't call them the Reimagined, but let's be honest, those are the Reimagined DMPs, right? Those were an upgraded materials, and so was this. So for me, when it's coming, when we're grading the Reimagined Bred 4s, I am going to give these a 8.3 out of 10. An 8.3, 83%, I think that's like a B minus, all right? That's pretty up there. It's definitely closer to the higher end. And I think I already explained my justifications, guys. So let me know if you agree or you're like, what? I did not expect that, right? Mr. Aish Productions behind the camera, the guy who does all the editing, right? What would you rate the Reimagined Bred 4s?
I gotta give these a solid 5.
5, 50%. That is a fail in school. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. Okay, so you're teeter-totter in the middle. I honestly expect you to say a little bit higher because in past reviews, I think you kind of like Jordan 4s. Why so low for these?
The leather that it's given off. Maybe I had to see it on feet.
Okay. Like you've seen these in the past, right? Like the 2019 with the suede and all that stuff. Yep. So the leather just throws you off, right?
Exactly.
And I think a lot of the community agree with you, right? And that's why when they looked at the product pictures and different things, they're already commenting without ever seeing them in hand, like, those are off, right? No, not at all. So I guess you tend to agree, right? But yeah, let's see him on feet and see if that changes your mind. I'm a really good salesman, right? So half the time when he rates something low, I still get him to buy it, you know what I'm saying? But that being said, guys, let us know, okay? If you're more so on Vital's side, on the higher side of ratings, maybe you're even higher, because some people that have walked into our boutique, when they see him, they're like, oh, dude, I was totally wrong. I need them today, right? Or if you're more so on Mr. IH production side of things, and you're kind of teeter-tottering in the middle and you're not quite sure, all right? That being said, guys, we appreciate you for your time and definitely locking with us so we can catch you in the next video. Till next time, BK family,